for a very long time, people of various political perspectives could get along just fine here in this country. But now, something's changed, and we couldn't be any more polarized. So I'll ask the question, has the right just walked away and separated from the left to do their own thing? Or did the left snap and force this division? Welcome to the Candid series, where it's just as it sounds. Candid, unscripted, right in the moment, because it's something that just needs to be talked about right now. So, let's get into this. No fun-related movie clips, no jokes, no gags, nothing like that in this video. This one's actually pretty damn important, but in a different way from my other videos. This one also isn't for us, meaning those of us on the right, conservative, centrists even. It's actually for the left. So, dear those of you on the left, I've been watching all of these going-ons in culture, especially in the last few months, and there is something that you need to understand that it seems like you just don't. When you come out and you make the blanket statement that every individual in this vast majority of the population of this country, not even knowing these people, that they're racist, and that if they admit that they're racist, it proves that they're racist, but if they don't admit that they're racist, then it's the strongest proof of all that they are, then there is something profoundly wrong with your thinking. Then it's you who call us brainwashed. And okay, now without question, there are definitely those who are, and they believe all kinds of weird things, that they're told. But for the most part, we stand where we stand because we were smart enough to question what the media told us, not willfully trusting and just easily exploited. And we watched the sources of these claims for ourselves, and we saw clearly what was true and what was not. And that's why we refuse to hold up our fists to see BLM, even though that we do believe that Black Lives Matter, and we believe that Black people deserve to enjoy all the rights equally that anybody else does. And that's why we reject that sham of an organization. That is why we reject Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That is why we outright laugh at people who say, they don't want to take your guns, because we actually listened to what these despots had to say. They are the side that incites violence, meaning the left. They incite violence, they burn, loots, they're the side that riots and even kills. We fight only when attacked, otherwise we mind our own. When we are celebrating and enjoying life in each other, they come out, when we're enjoying those times together, they come out and they seek us out and they hunt us down, and they do so with impunity. All that evil and that hatred and that anger that they just can't even see. They say the same thing about us, but there is a profound difference between us and they. And they play by an entire different set of rules. You have to understand, there is not one set of rules equal to each side. Sure, legally on the books there are, but they're not applied the same. And there is one application for the left, which we watch giving them open rein, literally, to kill, steal, and destroy, while being celebrated culturally, their acts ignored legally, and it's all accepted at large. Buildings are burned, cars are destroyed. And with these riots, over 30 plus people have been killed related to them just this year. And it's all lifted up as a positive cause and necessary civil unrest by courageous and valiant individuals willing to step out for justice. It doesn't matter if the reasons for which they're rioting are because an armed criminal was shot in conflict with police, or another was killed by officers when he ran at them with a knife in his hand raised over his head. It doesn't matter if property is destroyed. Innocent people who've had nothing to do with anything going on are beaten, and people are shot in cold blood, including a man in Portland and a very young girl in a car in Atlanta. Her only crime? She was just simply there. The rules for the other side, right? The right, they're handled quite differently. That set of rules is a serious one. It's dangerous and it's punitive. One for the right. It's I don't want to say it. Okay, fine. It's a punitive one for the right. It's even though it's not the right that is a side that's out terrorizing people and communities for almost up to a year now. The left is excused. The right is condemned. Violence is not our aim, and we avoid it. Yet when you violate and you terrorize us into a corner, what option do we really have left, y'all? When the left commits masses and mountains of violence, but meaning the violence, and they are celebrated as warriors fighting a positive civil unrest. When the right engages just in a fraction of what the left does, the left, it shakes and rage and their wrath and their loathing, it drives them to just spitting out such as this terrorism, even if the violence is a result of someone protecting their own life from another wishing to kill them. Racist, terrorist, white supremacist, they say. Then it's as if you have all just been practicing to gain the next career politician position, calling for unity in the most fake and insulting, self-righteous way, while holding that knife behind your back that you're ready to just plunge into the next conservative individual you can get close enough to. I want to say that what I really want to say, what I would love to say, is just that you've been mean. Y'all have just been very, very mean. That you've just been profoundly hurtful to so many people. But you haven't just been mean, and you haven't just been hurtful. By your actions, you've actually become the literal embodiment of wickedness. So yes, we do reject your position. We do reject your president. We do reject your media. And we do reject your system and your influencers. We do accept critical thinking, and we find the work of researching out every claim before we believe it. And we consider it our integrity upon principle to do so, even if it does put us both in the minority and a dangerous position. And yes, that is a dangerous position. Because you see, you attack us. You don't let up. You don't relent. Your entire system and process and establishment is crafted to tear us down, to devastate us, to humiliate us, to cancel us, to censor us, and defeat us. And it's driven just by a lust and a desire fueled by hatred and zealous, just to incite anger and division. So let me ask, what are people supposed to do when they've lost their voice in culture? The system ignores them, and the culture stops at nothing to relentlessly crush them. That's a fair question. You see, we're not a people who want violence. At this point, we want revolution. We need it, but we want it non-violently. Yet you all commit this constant violence against us. And I know it's not all, but it's definitely that side. It's that violence. Your side, it needs it. Your media can't survive without it. They fabricate narratives and manipulate you as willing pawns to then go out and incite it. We still don't want violence, although it could be necessary at some point. And if it is, we are driven enough and we know exactly what it is to stand and fight for. What we are not willing to lose, that you have hijacked and are systematically destroying. Sorry. You see, but we don't want to fight if we can avoid it. We really, really don't. And we want you to know that. Yet you just keep poking with sticks of this self-delusional, made-up sense of social justice, a fight against a boogeyman that's not even there. It's not even real. Yet you see that very boogeyman in everything that you are willing. You have to see it in everything. So much so that you're willing to just squint and strain and just warp heaven and earth to see anything even remotely similar to what you want it to be. And then you justify the peripheral vision of that imaginary specter and you deem it so. We don't want violence. We really don't. We recognize that we're not always right either. We do. And I hope, accept that when we are wrong, and we admit it, and we seek to do better. But in this culture, in this war between tribes and ideology, conservatives are not the institutional power. We're the ones watching the Democratic Republic be selfishly consumed by the insatiable appetites of the left establishment elitists. You have media, you have big tech, and entertainment, and sports, and that screams just rhetoric, and it galvanizes you, and it beats the drum of conflict. And you see, if we do anything to push back, just as a soccer player, will flip and act out this incredible injury on the pitch, or as a child will, if he's barely touched, just brushed, or as a child will cry and pretend to be just so hurt and so victimized by another in order to get that other kid in trouble, even though that other kid didn't do anything. You are the same way. You force our hand, but when it just barely flinches, you scream and you rally and you create the story that, see, did you see it? Did you see it twitch? Did you? It twitched. No, it didn't twitch. It attempted to rise up and attack us and kill us and victimize us and continue to oppress us. When really, the hand, it just twitched. Then you grab your sword or your axe and you hold it high above your head, and together as a mob, you all grab the handle and you plunge it downward, just severing the hand from the arm. And when you do it, you claim it was done for the purpose of righteousness and justice. The greater culture and the media and the rest, they're like, in my mind, how I see it, they're like an emperor in a crowd watching from the seats in the Colosseum, just cheering on what you call heroic bravery and encouraging more and more, when really all it was compassionless barbarism. You do it physically, and you do it in other ways, making up even new meanings for old words like racism, turning it into something it never was, and turning people who are not, in your simple minds, into that which they never have been. And you don't even need proof. You don't even need evidence. You just need another human to project your belief and rage and your hatred onto. And that is the only justification you need. Anything beyond that is just trite. And the sad part, what is really, really sad, is you have so betrayed your own mind and the gift of the ability to think critically, a gift endowed to you by your Creator. And you've forsaken a genuine empathy for a manufactured one. And it's taken such root within you that to recognize it and step away from what has you enslaved to its insidious powers would be this profoundly painful tearing away of the identity that you've assumed, a violent ripping asunder within your own soul. Therefore, you won't do it. It feels too good to be stroked and affirmed and accepted by all those just like you, who have chosen, regardless of the betrayal, even against themselves, to take the easy road, to take the safe road. That's not what this country was founded on. And that's not what us on this side want to fight for. But you're pushing it. You see this post, this video, it was originally planned to be a more lighthearted, just kind of truthful jab, but perhaps I'll just make that a part 2. Let's just go ahead and end it here. How do you feel with what's occurring in this culture? Have you been in any way attacked by the left? God knows that I sure have. And are you someone who leans more left, but you have maybe you have a whole different perspective based on your own experiences? I actually really want to hear those too. I would love to have those conversations. Your experiences, they do matter. And finally, if you find this content of value, then please like, share, and subscribe. All of that will help me grow the channel, and to do so will actually do a lot to help us all out. So thank you.